It was the lie that shook the world. A lie worth $65 billion, a deception so vast, so profound. For decades, Bernard L. Madoff was not just a name on Wall Street, he was an institution. He was the wise man, he was the steady hand. He was the magician who could conjure profits from thin air. His clients were not just ordinary investors, sophisticated banks, powerful hedge funds, beloved charities. They trusted him completely. They were all wrong. This is more than a tale of financial fraud. It is a modern tragedy. Trust, greed, and the catastrophic power of a single lie. It reveals how systems meant to protect us can be blinded by the illusion of success. Madoff's name became synonymous with the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Bernard Madoff did not begin his life as a Wall Street king. He was born in Queens, New York, to a family of modest means. His story was the classic American dream, or so it appeared. He started his own firm in 1960 with just a few $1,000s. Money he had saved from working as a lifeguard installing sprinkler systems, armed with ambition and a keen understanding of the market's plumbing. This image of the self-made man was central to his appeal: relatable, trustworthy, authentic. Madoff became a pioneer in electronic trading, helping to develop the technology that would become the NASDAQ. He championed a more democratic and efficient market. This role earned him immense respect and credibility. He wasn't just a trader, he was a visionary. Regulators sought his advice. Access was exclusive, granted only to a select circle of friends, family, influential clients. Being a Madoff client was a status symbol. The desire to belong often overshadowed due diligence. His market-making business operated on one floor of the Lipstick Building, a bustling, transparent operation. But on another floor, the 17th, a secret was being kept. This was the home of his investment advisory arm, the engine of the Ponzi scheme. Here, the grand deception was managed with painstaking detail, far from the eyes of regulators, auditors, and even most employees. The myth of Bernie Madoff was complete, and the stage was set for the greatest fraud in financial history. The foundation of Bernie Madoff's scam was its perceived consistency. In a volatile world of market swings and economic uncertainty, he offered something that seemed impossible: steady, reliable returns. Year after year, his clients received statements showing consistent gains of around 10 to 12%. These returns were not spectacular enough to raise immediate red flags, but they were impressive enough to keep investors happy. This unbelievable consistency should have been a warning sign, but for his loyal followers, it was proof of genius. He claimed to use a split-strike conversion, a complex, plausible strategy. The truth, of course, was far simpler and more sinister. There were no trades. The split-strike conversion was pure fiction. The elaborate account statements showing detailed transactions and healthy profits were complete fabrications. They were created on an old IBM computer in a locked-off section of his office. Madoff's team, led by Frank DePascali, would retroactively create fake trades to produce desired returns. They would look up closing prices and backdate trades, crafting a fictional paper trail. Printed statements, fabricated trade confirmations mailed to thousands of clients. At its core, a Ponzi scheme is surprisingly simple. Pay profits to early investors using money from newer ones. Attracted by promises of steady returns, people invested. New deposits paid earlier clients, until math and reality caught up. This house of cards stood for decades, supported by an inflow of new money, but it was doomed to fail. Madoff's version of the Ponzi was a masterpiece of psychological manipulation. He sold certainty, not spectacle. Exclusivity short-circuited due diligence. You had to be introduced, you had to be invited. The paperwork looked legitimate, but it was all fake. No trades, no custody, no independent verification. In the autumn of 2008, the global financial system was seized by a crisis of historic proportions. Credit froze, stock prices plummeted, investors everywhere scrambled to pull their money out. New money dried up. The one thing Madoff's scheme needed most. Redemption requests piled up, totaling around $7 billion. Existing clients, spooked, began demanding withdrawals. There was nothing to send. The money wasn't there. Years earlier, it had been spent on payouts and a lavish lifestyle. The final act unfolded on December 10, 2008. With the walls closing in, Bernie Madoff sat down with his two sons in his Manhattan apartment. He looked at them and confessed everything. They left, contacted their lawyer. The next morning, federal authorities were alerted. FBI agents arrived. When asked if there was an innocent explanation, Madoff said,
"There is no innocent explanation."
News of his arrest sent shockwaves across the globe. Hedge funds, celebrities, retirees, charities, university endowments, Thousands discovered their savings gone overnight. Phones began ringing in the homes of thousands of victims. As the scale became clear, $65 billion in phantom wealth, disbelief turned to outrage. The legal machinery moved quickly: federal charges, court hearings, and search for culpable accomplices. Investigations exposed the back-office operation and the team that perpetuated the fraud. The public cry was one of betrayal and outrage. A massive forensic effort began to trace funds and recover assets, a painstaking, years-long process. The aftermath was a landscape of financial and emotional ruin. Esteemed charities and university endowments were wiped out. Bankruptcies, broken families, even suicides. The human cost was immense. Victims were left not just penniless but grappling with a profound sense of betrayal. A court-appointed trustee led a massive recovery effort, suing net winners and clawing back billions. That effort returned significant principal to many victims, but not the phantom profits or the trust that was lost. For many, the recovery was too little, too late. The SEC faced harsh criticism. Reforms followed, but critics asked whether the lessons had truly been learned. The scandal is a painful lesson in financial vigilance. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Insist on transparency and independent verification. A manager acting as broker and custodian is a red flag. Always ask questions, demand proof. Know where your money is and how it's being managed. In a world of complex financial products and charismatic gurus promising sure things, the temptation to suspend disbelief is ever present. The name Madoff became a symbol of the deepest betrayal, a wound on public consciousness that has yet to fully heal. The moral is harsh. Reputation is no substitute for regulation. Trust is no substitute for due diligence. The best defense is skepticism and an educated public. Even today in 2025, these lessons remain relevant. Remain vigilant to protect yourselves. Subscribe to Fraudline for more shocking financial scandals and corporate fraud stories.